Ooh, the long version. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Shea Station podcast. This is episode number 77. It is Thursday, June 23rd. It's a downer episode. For the first time this season, the Mets put up an absolute stinker. We have no wins to recap because they went to Houston, they lost 2, and now they're back on the road again. I'm Jack, a.k.a. Jolly Olive, joined by my co-host, former pitcher Jerry Blevins. Ever heard of him? Jerry, how you doing?
I am former pitcher.
Yeah, it's true. How you doing?
Notice in the intro that we got no Gary Cohen call, no intro.
Listen, I looked for a good call. There was a little bit of pep in Jerry's voice, but not a lot of great takeaways from our 2 days in Houston.
Yeah, it was an ugly 2 games. Again, this is, we recap a sweep. I'm putting air quotes on it for the listeners. It's 2 games. Like that doesn't count as a sweep.
I will say
it's got to be at least 3 games.
Yeah.
On the other end of the scale is if you sweep like a random 5-game series, like Little Leagues, that's a backbreaker. You need to retire. That's the kind of this is tough. But a 2-game series is just, weird.
Yeah, we went in a little injured, came out a little injured. I'm kind of glad there's not a 3rd game, if I'm being completely honest, because this team just kind of looked like they were spun out, a little bit disoriented, if you will. Not a lot of great at-bats in this one, a lot of squandered opportunities. Played a good team. That's just the fact of it. You're going to face good teams in the playoffs, so I think that's where the panic from a lot of Mets fans is coming. But I think the biggest thing, and we'll talk about it more as we get into our recaps, is the absence of Jeff McNeil, I think, was glaringly obvious in this series.
Yeah, I think they're a little flat. To talk about our series, I'm just going to lump the 2 games we're going to play them in Queens as the series.
The series of the year.
Because we play them in like a week, so it's close enough together to where it's the same 2 teams. But we miss McNeil. We didn't hit with runners in scoring position, and we didn't get great starting pitching, which is, recipe for disaster.
Yeah, and we kept it close in game 2. Got away from us. We'll talk about that. Before we get to today's recap, got to tell you guys about one of our 2 sponsors for today's episode. Ooh. Our very good friends over at Greg Morris Cards actually sent us a pack of Mets cards, and I'm going to do my first ever unpacking of cards.
The kids call it a rip, I believe.
A rip? That's what the kids are saying?
Yeah, you rip a package open.
So what do we got first? Oh my, they give us Pete Crow Armstrong? Oh no.
Ooh, that hits a little too close to home.
Yeah, I was going to say, guys, come on, Greg Morris.
We're talking about trades and stuff.
Yeah,
we
will
be
talking about
stuff.
Trades. It's true.
Yeah, he's killing it right now.
I'm doing a horrible job of this. I'm glad it's behind my laptop. Oh, Isaiah Green, another guy we traded. What's going on, man? What's going on?
Who was he? What trade was that?
That was the Lindor trade. It was him, Andres Jimenez, Ahmed, and then Josh Wolf, I think his name was. All 4 of those went in the Lindor trade. So Andres
Jimenez might be an all-star this year, by the way.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I'd be happy about that. I'm not going to lie. I'd be happy about that.
Yeah, I got a chance to chat with him. Super cool.
Keith Hernandez is on here as well.
I've heard of him.
Rookie card. That's pretty valuable, I'd say, in my baseball card experience. And then, of course, the statue himself, Tom Seaver, right there. Bang. Beautiful.
The statue. The franchise.
The franchise. Guys, if you liked any of those cards you saw, you got to go to gregmorriscards.com. They got all that and more. They sell over 80,000 sports cards every month, over 2,000 a day, exclusively on eBay. And they sell baseball cards from every era, as you can tell. Pete Crow Armstrong from the now, Tom Seaver from the then. Why do people trust GMC for buying cards? They hand grade every card they sell. You guys know that by now. They've been trusting Greg's Grades for years. Greg's Grades is always a hard part to say of that ad read, and I don't think I've ever messed it up, so I'm kind of proud of myself. If Greg says the card is mint, you know the card is mint. I appreciate that, Jerry. So go to gregmorriscards.com to see their inventory, and they want to give you $10 in free cards if you do, just for hearing about them from Jomboy Media. So go to their website, gregmorriscards.com, find the cards you want, and if you win the eBay auction, message them with the code JOMBOY to get $10 off your order. Thank you to Greg Morris Cards for sponsoring today's episode of Shea Station.
Thank you, GMC.
I like
We appreciate
GMC,
you,
like the car company, but not actually. Can't
but
conflate
not
those
actually,
two.
not General Motors.
Yeah, if you go to gregmorriscards.com looking for a car, I think you're going to have some bad news. But that seems like a you problem. I don't know. Recaps? Should we talk about it? Oh,
Recaps.
God. All right.
Here we go.
Play
You
the
get game
music. I
one,
do.
the real stinker.
The real stinker of the two. All right. The Mets go to Minute Maid Park, kind of a bad place for them to play in the recent years, and they send Trevor Williams to the mound. He won back his rotation spot because of an injury to Tyler McGill. He looked really good in the first 2 innings. He looked like he was cruising, and then in that 3rd inning, things came crashing down. Altuve and Yordan Alvarez, big bad Yordan, who torched us this series, they crank home runs to give Houston a 3-0 lead in the 3rd. Trevor would only go 4 innings in this one, gave up 3 earned runs, 4 hits, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, 2 homers on 72 pitches. His ERA is now up to 3.86 on the year. The Mets threatened in the 4th inning. They loaded the bases with 1 out thanks to a Houston error. But Eduardo Escobar and J.D. Davis both go down on a strikeout. Tough turn for the Mets there. That would be the best opportunity they had pretty much the entire game because Chasen Shreve came up after in the 5th and just imploded in relief of T-Will. Kind of put things out of reach. With 2 outs and the bases loaded and out away from getting out of things against a lefty, Kyle Tucker took him to the right center gap, a double to clear the bases and make it a 6-0 Houston game. He walked another batter that led to a Mauricio Dubon RBI double. Shreve finally got out of it after that game. Tough look for him. Pete Alonso and Eduardo Escobar took the time in garbage time to add some solo shots to their resume. Pete's was his 20th of the year, so good for Pete. That made it a 7-2 ball game. Adonis Medina kind of lost in the scuffle of this game, had some solid long relief. 3 innings, 1 earned run, 3 hits, 1 walk, 1 strikeout on 45 pitches. The controversy, which was kind of silly in my opinion, came from Jose Siri, who hit a very long home run to left field and took some time to look at it. The Mets took exception, specifically Eduardo Escobar. His own manager took exception, Dusty Baker, as Siri was benched the next day. That made it 8-2. The Mets kind of went out quietly in this one. Seth Martinez has been a revelation for the Astros. He has 17 consecutive scoreless innings to start the year. He stymied us. And the Astros win game 1, 8-2. An absolute stinker. Pretty brutal.
Stinker.
A stinker.
Chasen Shreve, boy, he needs to string some basically clean innings together.
His job is in danger.
Yeah, I think so too. I think like I said, he needs to string some confident runs together. The number one thing is that manager's confidence, and he does not have it, and he doesn't have it for a reason. He was an absolute stellar pickup to start the year.
Yeah,
looked incredible. Just hasn't had it. It doesn't look confident on the mound. On the other side, Adonis Medina looked really good.
Yeah, for real.
Looked confident. I was impressed with him. What do you think about the Jose Siri thing? What do you got on that?
I get why I think the Mets were upset because it's 7-2. They're not playing good ball. The momentum's not there. It didn't feel like the Mets were going to come back and win that game. So when you're kind of showing up the team when you're already up 5 runs and you hit a solo shot, I get the animosity there. At the same time, Jose Siri is a kid. He's got a lot to learn. I think he has a nice future in baseball. He's a great center fielder. And I don't think he hadn't had a big hit in a while. His hitting numbers were down, so I'm pretty sure that was a monkey off his back to get that big home run. But I think he stared a little bit too long. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter. I understand why people got upset, though.
I loved how the teams reacted, to be honest. I could do without, Eduardo Escobar, but he's kind of our de facto leader here.
Yeah.
It was a little bit too showy in a game like that. In a situation there, it's not a big home run. You just stood there. You didn't have some style while you're jogging. That was just to say, I'm going to stand here and stare. So it was a little out of touch with what we're trying to get in today's game, which is style and flair, which I'm all for. And I love that Dusty benched him for game 2. You could say it that he just didn't start him, because you got to teach young kid lessons. You got to say, hey man, there's room for that. You could be yourself, but also, understand context. We're a team first here. We're trying to win. Not a big deal. And it wasn't a big deal to anybody else afterward. But Dusty, you gotta show him that there are consequences to silly things. And so Yeah. I mean, if it was a huge home run, a momentum swinger, do whatever you got to do. But yeah, that was just a little bit like, like that's a little, even when I was watching, I was like, really that long? Come on.
Yeah, in Dusty's post-game comments, I think he said something along the lines of, like back when I played, that would have got one of our guys hit, and I think that was like the rationale for him benching Siri. Obviously, the Mets have been hit more than any other team in baseball this year. I don't think they were going to start another war with another team. Yeah. I don't think that was on their mind, but I get where Dusty was coming from, and you got a veteran manager.
Yeah, Dusty's like, come on, man. Like, yeah,
let's move it along.
Not that you're doing terrible, egregious things. You're not being a jerk. Just class it up a bit, which I'm for.
Definitely.
You ready for game 2?
I am ready for game 2.
All right, game 2.
Stinker.
Cookie Carrasco and Louis Garcia battling. Things did not go the Mets' way right in the bottom of the first. We get an Altuve walk. Brantley doubled, which is what Brantley does. And then they go back-to-back with Bregman and Jordan, who might be the best hitter on the planet right now.
Maybe.
That makes it 4-0. And then in the third inning, Jordan would get Cookie again to make it 5-1. And the sixth inning was the big letdown for the New York Mets. We had a Nimmo walk. Marte doubles him home, making it 5-2. Lindor gets a single. Alonso punches a sac fly, 5-3. And then we get a Guillorme double, a Marcana walk to load the bases with 1 out. Then Eduardo Escobar has a pop out and a Dom strikeout, and the Mets waste a golden chance. It felt like a big letdown in the moment. Felt like we lost the game there. But we didn't. We had a bunch of baseball to play, but we never really got on track offensively. The bullpen looked great again in relief of Cookie, who we went down with some back tightness in the third. We'll talk about that at the end. But Yohan Lopez also looked incredible, went 2 2/3 scoreless with only 1 base runner. Tommy Hunter again looked really good. Joely Rodriguez looked strong. They both got 4 outs. And Joely struck out Hercules himself, Mr. Yordan Alvarez. Then Edwin Diaz came in, got a good strikeout of Kyle Tucker. The bullpen goes 5 2/3. No runs, no walks, 5 punchies. Like I said, after that 6th inning, the Mets only got 2 base runners in the last 3 innings. They lose 5-3. It felt like 12-3. But the big moments in that game were Eduardo Escobar and Dom Smith both leaving those bases loaded. They both left a total of 4 men on base. And then Pete Alonso had a rough day at the plate, going 0-3 with 3 punchies and that 1 sac fly. Mets lose 5-3.
Brutal. This one
it
was
felt
a tough
worse
watch.
than 5-3, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it was a tough watch. It was close in the end. There's a lot to talk about here. I'm just going to segue, just because I feel like it. Michael Brantley is so underrated. Such an underrated ball player.
He's an old man now. He's an old man. One of the best hitters in the game. We talk about approach. Like, we admire what Brandon Nimmo does on a day in, day out. We watch what Mark Canha does on day in, day out with the way this is Michael Brantley. He's so smart. He is incredible at the plate. Just an absolutely incredible career that went under the radar because he was in Cleveland and then in Houston. Guy is a magnificent hitter, one of the best of his era, and nobody ever talks about him.
It's crazy that now, like, he came 3rd in MVP voting one year. He's just been so incredibly consistent. He's a doubles machine. And it was nice because these are a lot of players we never get to watch. Obviously, watching Jordan take at-bats was scary, but also really fun because I never really get to watch him play. He's on the West Coast. I think I enjoyed watching Michael Brantley play the most out of all the guys in the Astros lineup. So I just want to give him a quick shout-out. Very underrated. Possible.
Yeah, he's in his age 35 season with Houston. This 35. Is his 4th season with Houston after, being in Cleveland forever. He's a career 298 hitter. He's hitting 298 this year, so I think that's pretty good.
I'd say so too. But we should talk about our Mets. I want to give some love to Yohan Lopez. Was great in this game to keep it close. I mean, this very easily could have spiraled out of control. He kept the Astros at 5 runs, 2 2/3 scoreless. The Mets had that rally, but it was just killer from the 7 and 8 hole in this entire series. Just a lot of big squandered opportunities. I think you really felt McNeil missing there because I think we found it odd earlier in the season that McNeil was batting 8th considering how well he was doing. But man, you have McNeil in the 8 hole there. Maybe either of these 2 games or maybe both go a different way with a big clutch hit. Instead, Eddie, who just had a nightmare series, left a lot of men on base, and then Dom, thrust into a spotlight in his first couple games back, cannot get the job done. Yeah, it was just a tough watch in these 2 games. Just a tough watch.
Tough couple games. You mentioned bullpen pitched great this whole series.
Yeah.
2 games. I mean, they did look good. I think that was the shining spot, because that 5-3 game could have quickly been a 12-3 game where you have a position player pitching.
Yeah.
Because Cookie Carrasco with back tightness left in the third. He only went 2 1/3 there, 5 runs, 4 hits, 2 walks, 2 Ks. Those 3 big homers, only threw 53 pitches. You have a good note in here that his fastball velocity was down 1.3.
Yeah.
I think it's something that he was like, I might be able to pitch through this to take one for the team. Something that Trevor May talked about, and again in that really revealing press conference. But it turned out to not be so. So he, we've seen him be tough. We've seen him, bite down on some leather and get out there and work through some pain. This was just a little too much, and I think it got worse as the game progressed.
Yeah.
So you see him pulled. He wasn't worried after the game. He said no big deal, should be fine. But again, they're doing the right thing by taking him out, by taking yourself out, and they're going to reevaluate. Don't give anything. But I don't imagine, trusting Cookie, knowing his body, I don't imagine we're going to see him miss a start unless they are extra cautious and just push him back.
Yeah, I think
a lot of travel for an old guy.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is a guy that missed half the year last year, came back too early, and we kind of thrust him in because we needed him. This is the last kind of guy that you want to overwork and push through injury. He did not seem worried at all, like you said. He said, no concern. I think I'm going to be fine. Just waiting for tomorrow, and then we go from there. Tomorrow's today because he's getting an MRI.
Tomorrow is today.
Tomorrow
that
is today.
Philosophical, your meta right now.
It's a poetic pod. We know this. Come on now. Come on. I don't think I'm worried. I think the Mets made the right call by yanking him, even though tough for the game outlook. And I think they learned their lesson with Tyler McGill. Don't want to be too overzealous. Don't rush guys back. You have Max coming back soon. I don't know if they should rush him either, even with this injury news, even though he looks like he's dying to get back on the mound. Just got to play it safe. You have a lot of off days. You have 3 off days in the next, I think, week, which is actually pretty huge for this Mets staff that is getting a little battered around. But I think Cookie will be fine. So that's good.
I do too.
Yeah.
I want to say that I don't think they rushed Tyler McGill back.
Yeah.
I don't think they I don't know that, because he was pitching lights out. It seemed like he just strained himself on one pitch. That happens, man.
Yeah.
Throwing a baseball is not normal for your body. So again, not concerned. But we did stink for 2 games, so that's good.
I mean, there's just no real other way to say it. Shout out to the bullpen. But yeah, this was just a couple of stinker games. Alonso with a rare dud in game 2, 3 Ks. It looked like the Astros just had his number. They pitched around him a lot in game 1, and they kind of went after him in game 2, which I thought was pretty interesting. But luckily, it's only a 2-gamer. I think a 3rd game might have really messed up our Mets, maybe a possible sweep there. So it's good to get out of town, get the off day, go to Miami, play a team that you just beat. So that turns our way pretty well. And then the Astros have to go play 4 in the Bronx. That's going to be some must-watch baseball for sure.
Yep. So we have a tough stretch. It's just been such a weird schedule.
Just weird.
We went West Coast, home, Houston, which is a mile, like really far away. They play in the West.
Yeah.
For 2 games and then home. Like, it's just weird.
Yeah. Now down in Miami.
Then Miami, back to the East Coast. Just a weird run. And then we play Houston again. Just stacking them up. So I guess the continuation, we're not, the continuation of the series is when we play them for the other 2 games.
I mean, you mentioned that at the beginning of the episode. I kind of like that idea. Like, it's just one 4-game set. So we'll see how they do back at home. Maybe they'll win both.
It's like a 4-game series in the playoffs where, 2 on their place, 2 at our place. A weird 4 games, but
yeah. And I think the way that the rotation goes, I think you might miss some of their top guys again. So that kind of works out for the Mets. Hopefully they can actually push it this time.
Yeah, let's try to win some ball games. So
that'd be good.
You want to do the apples, because there's a short list.
Yeah, there is a short list for our apples. But
are we going to give them out? I think we can opt out, but I think I have a good one that we're going to give out.
I have a good one too. I think we can give them out.
The apple of our eye.
You want to go first?
I do. We highlighted the MVP of our 2-game set, as the bullpen. So I believe that Yohan Lopez in his stellar relief outing coming in for an injured Cookie Carrasco goes 2 2/3, only allows 1 hit, really kept the Mets in the ball game, kept the feeling we were, it was a close game at that point, gave the Mets an opportunity to win in a 2-game set where the offense just didn't have it. And the starting pitching wasn't there. I wanted to highlight the bullpen, who as a whole could get it, but I think I'm going to give it to Yohan Lopez in a difficult situation coming in for an injured starter, and looked great, man. He looked really good. The enforcer is back. Doing his thing, not having to plunk guys, not having to lay down the law. He's lucky that Jose Siri didn't have to face Yohan Lopez again, because he would have been in trouble.
Yeah.
But he is the apple of my eye.
Very good one. You know, like, it's always nice to give one to a guy like Yohan Lopez when you have the opportunity. I think I was able to give one to Adonis Medina earlier this year. That was nice. And Yohan Lopez,
put a little Medina in your glass. It was great.
If we win that game, I think he's the MVP because he just kept us in it when it looked very, very bleak. So good for Yohan. I forgot that his nickname was the Enforcer. That's hilarious. I still can't believe he got suspended.
Is that his real nickname, or did we just give it to him?
Is that like on his Baseball Reference? I still can't believe he got suspended.
So. I think he's the Enforcer because of the silly suspensions, and he was always the guy early in the season that was just throwing at people because
his
we were getting hit
nickname
all the time.
Is El Acere. I don't know what that means though.
Wait, what's it? Spell it.
L-E-L and then A-S-E-R-E. El Acere. Hope I'm saying that right.
I don't know what that means.
Jerry's on the case. I'm gonna give my apple while you do some research. If that's
you
cool
please do that. Is he Cuban?
Is he human?
No, is he Cubano? Is he Cuban?
Oh, I think you asked if he was human. Yeah, he's Cuban.
Okay, so that means good night, slang for
Ooh,
Cubans.
I kind of like that. He's good night. I like that because he puts people away. Tucks them into bed.
All right.
I got my guy, Luis Guillorme. He is the apple of my eye. Not a crazy series by Luis Guillorme, but it's always nice to give him some love when we have the chance. He went 3 for 8. He had a double. He has a 6-game hit streak. And as always, he and Lindor were absolute magicians up the middle. A lot of inconsequential double plays were turned by those two. He just puts on a clinic pretty much every series. And I think that we can start to get into the territory, since he's playing so much, of Luis Guillorme being a legitimate Gold Glove candidate. I think that he has been a highlight reel every single night. Obviously, he's playing all over the field, but second base kind of seems to be his position at this point, and he's just been so good. So I want to give some love to Guillorme. Nimmo and Alonso both had pretty good series by the standards of how we played. Nimmo was 2 for 8 with an RBI and a walk. Alonso 3 for 7 with a homer and a walk. But I'm going to give some love to Guillorme because he always deserves it. Batted 5th in this series, too, and was completely up to the task. Kept that rally going when we got the bases loaded, but squandered it. So, Luis Guillorme, he gets the apple of my eye.
I love it. Well deserved. The guy, all-star, Gold Glove, like legit should be.
Yeah.
I want to say, so I did a little more research on Acere.
Yeah.
It means like friend, buddy, as well. So I'm getting mixed signals from my research. You'll hear this one all the time in Cuba, and it's not used in any other Spanish-speaking country. It's the most popular way to address a friend, and you wouldn't use it with someone you've just met or in a professional situation.
Interesting.
So it's like your close, close friend. So that's cool.
That's it.
Your
okay.
buddy.
I like good night because I feel like Yohan Lopez, if you look at his Baseball Reference, that is a mean mug. He does not look friendly by any means.
It doesn't look like a friendly guy.
I mean, I'm sure. Oh, if you hover over him and you get the minor league picture, there's like a nice smile there. So it's kind of like two sides. So I think one of them is the friend, and then one of them is good night. That's what I'm going with. That's what I like.
Hey, I'm gonna go with it means friend. So I don't know.
Oh, he had. I didn't realize how long he's been in the league. He had 70 games for the Diamondbacks in 2019. 3.41 ERA. Good for Yohan.
All right.
Good for him. This is what the people came to see. A deep dive on Yohan Lopez.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
But Guillorme, man, gosh, I love watching him play baseball. He's awesome. He does so many cool things with his glove. He's also hitting 300. Like, just a special kind of player. We've been kind of spoiled.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if we've been wasting him, because I don't know if he was this guy until recently, but he's always had that kind of at bat. But it really is nice to see him shine on a level. He could help any team. I promise you, all 29 other teams would love to have Luis Guillorme on their roster, because he can do so many things and he does everything well. He's not a liability at the plate like I guess he was kind of projected to be. But he is an awesome baseball player. So I'm glad he got the apple.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what Buck said, because he, advocated for a utility role for the All-Star game, which I kind of like the idea. And he said every team could use a Luis Guillorme on their roster. And I do think that we've taken him for granted. He's been here forever, and we're only really giving him his first shot now. And we're seeing all the benefits. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's been a part and a big part of, the last few seasons being a reserve bench player, glove first guy. But, maybe it took him that long to kind of feel comfortable, or it took a guy like Buck to put him in there and in good situations. So
that's got to be it. All right, guys, we have some trade talk coming up, some trade candidates, because it's getting to be that time. We're only about a month away from the deadline, as well as some looking ahead series probables against Miami. But I got to tell you about our second sponsor for today's episode, a new sponsor coming around, and they are Cushy Dreams. You might have heard of them if you are a Jomboy Media fan. They specialize in high-quality legal cannabis, smokable CBD, and smokable Delta-8 THC. CBD has been shown to help with anxiety, depression, inflammation, and pain relief without the high, and Delta-8 is similar, but with some added euphoria. And if you go to their website now and use code STATION and get your first CBD or Delta-8 pre-roll, you can get that for free. You just got to pay shipping and handling. So their popular pre-roll joints are rolled in organic hemp paper and feature an even, slow burn. That sounds pretty nice. Flower is available in 1/8 ounce nitrogen sealed cans and now humidity controlled 1/2 ounce and full ounce Mylar bags. This sounds very, very professional and scientific. Got to go try it out. They offer both indica and sativa strains, and you get to pick the mood you want to experience, whether it's relax, creative, hustle, peace, energy, or dream. They got all those choices, and edibles are coming soon, gummies. So if you want more info and want to go see their selection, you can go to cushydreams.com. That's KUSHY. And at checkout, use promo code STATION and get your first CBD or Delta-8 pre-roll for free. Just got to pay shipping and handling. Pre-rolls are regularly $15 each. Smoke your CBD and Delta-8 with promo code STATION and get a free joint today. This is a CBD-friendly pod, Jerry. Did you know?
I did know. I use a CBD muscle massager.
Interesting.
Like an ointment that works fantastic. I don't know if you could tell. I got a little sun going on. Can you see the redness here?
I see
yeah. My brother's birthday, 43-year-old Rob Ellis, my dude. His birthday was yesterday. We spent all day together in the pool with our families. And my sunscreen must have washed off a little bit faster than I was ready for. Doesn't hurt. Looks painful, but little CBD lotion on there. Makes your skin feel good.
Nice. Look at that tie-in. I like that a lot. I mean, you got to get that waterproof sunscreen, Jerry. You got to get that.
I did have it. I probably just didn't wait the proper amount of time. I was, I'm like a little kid. Just want to get in the water.
I get it, man. It's a hot day. You want to get in there with everybody else.
Yeah, man.
So we got some trade talk because I feel like it's kind of appropriate. I feel like this is the team that's going to add at the deadline. I don't think that's far-fetched.
I agree with that.
I think the priority is probably a reliever and maybe a bat. I listed some starters as well in case the injury woes continue for this rotation, or maybe we don't get DeGrom back on schedule. Is there any guy from this list that you are intrigued by just looking at their stat line?
I mean, I'm intrigued by everyone on that list. I don't think we make a trade for a starter. Okay. I really don't, especially a front end guy like that. There's been a bunch of talk that we're going to do that. But in order to get a Frankie Montas, a Luis Castillo, we're going to have to part with one of our top guys. And I don't see Billy Epler letting those guys go. Because I think we've got Scherzer right on track to be back, possibly Sunday. And Tyler McGill's still out a while, but we see DeGrom on the horizon. Trevor Williams has been really good. I don't think we go for a top end guy, but I could be wrong. This is Stevie Cohen's Mets. We are a juggernaut. We have deep pockets. So I could see him doing that. But outside of that, CJ Cron, who quietly is having a monster season, would be incredible. And then Josh Bell, because he's a switch hitter, is very interesting to me too. So both of those guys are tops, but trading interdivision would be kind of strange.
Yeah, I always get that vibe too. I don't even there's probably team reluctance to do that, even if your team is out
there
of
is. You know why it's hard. I got traded from the Nats to the Mets, just so you remember.
Oh, I do.
Nobody cared about me at the time. But the fact that you don't want to give a prospect up, especially for a bigger trade candidate, which you would have to get, because you don't want to see that blow up in your face for the next 6+ years,
right?
Of the team controlling the guy that you gave away, dominating you in every facet.
Do you remember who you got traded for? I think I remember.
Of course, Matt Dendecker.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's a Mets legend.
I remember I got traded for Jason Kendall, Rob Bowen, and I.
Oh yeah.
Then I got traded for Billy Burns.
Yep.
And then for Matt Dendecker. So
Billy Burns had one great year, if I remember. He was like a fast guy.
He's like the fastest white guy on the planet, I think, for a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, we talked about CJ Cron before. Guy's got a 140 OPS plus, 17 home runs on the year, doing the damn thing for the Colorado Rockies.
Yep. And they're probably going to sell. They had a little bit of a run at the beginning where everybody was like, ooh, are they great? Did their signing of Chris Bryant foreshadow things to come, because they saw what we didn't see? And now we're like, why did they sign Chris Bryant?
Why did they sign Chris Bryant? Why did they do it?
But CJ Cron, man, just crushing it.
Yeah.
His slash line is ridiculous. He's slugging 566 again. Colorado, but that's wonderful.
That's what I was going to get to. He is a very what you'd imagine Coors Field livened up kind of guy. He has a 1.097 OPS at home and a 674 in away games. 13 home runs at home, 4 in away games. So that is a bit of the alarming part, because he might be a guy that really enjoys hitting at Coors Field. Whereas when I look at Josh Bell, I don't necessarily see as many home runs, but Josh Bell has been a guy that's been able to resurrect his career, because I think he stopped trying to hit solely for power. He had that 37 home run season in 19 with the Pirates, but now he's become more of a sound fundamental hitter. And the times that we've seen him this year, he's really torched us and gotten a lot of big hits for the Nationals. Still got a 146 OPS plus, 11 homers, 10 doubles. He's been really great, and it looks like he's figured something out over there, and I'm sure that he's going to be a big trade piece for them. Really good acquisition by them as well, to kind of get him on the cheap in 2020. That was good.
I agree. He's been great. Just a little caveat for CJ Cron out there. In 2020, he was with Detroit. He slugged 548 in a ballpark that is the opposite.
That's true.
Of, I guess not opposite. It's huge. It's like the same size.
Yeah.
But he had a long career. He started out in LA. His average slugging is 482, which is stellar. He's got an 807 OPS average as well, which is also really good. He's a good hitter. Again, it might be slightly inflated by Coors Field, but he's going to go. I think he's going to go to a team looking to make a big splash and contend.
Yeah, and as much as I love 5-hole Guillorme and seeing Jeff with those runners in scoring position opportunities, I do think that a bat to protect Pete Alonso, like a bigger bat, would be very, very good for this team that's really struggled with production at the DH hole between JD and Dom and others.
We talked about it in the preseason with our PPPs, how reliant upon Pete Alonso we were going to be. And thank goodness he's come through. But without his production, I mean, Lindor is crushing it with RBI as well. But we need some power. We need to protect him. We need to have another threat. Everybody's been saying right-handed. I don't know why we need a right-handed bat. But
I prefer switch personally. That's why I like Josh Bell.
Josh Bell sounds great. But I think we do make one more move there. It'd be interesting to see how we shake that out roster wise, because I would hate to see it cost like Guillorme time. Yeah.
And that's
So
why
that's interesting.
I think it might be a pure DH and not necessarily a fielder. I also don't think it's going to be Wilson Contreras. I've seen a lot of people throw out that idea, but I don't think you have James McCann coming back. You don't want to risk blocking Francisco Alvarez, and he has a high price tag because he's a catcher, so that's obviously very valuable. I think the other thing the Mets are probably going to target is definitely a reliever. We had some reliever struggles from Chase and Shreve in this series. I feel like his job might be in a little bit of danger. There's been a lot of great relievers on some dud teams this year. A couple guys I have my eye on. Jake Storielli, our own Talkin' Jake, sent me a text the other day, and it was 2 words, and it said Jorge Lopez. I was like, okay, I guess I got to go check out Jorge Lopez. He plays for the Orioles. He's having a great season.
Dominating.
0.79 ERA, 29 games, 11 saves for the O's. He is in a contract year, so he is a rental, and it looks like he's really figured something out in that reliever role. He's probably the best trade chip this Orioles team has, and I really like what I've seen from him. I looked up some footage after Jake texted me. I think he thought it was a good video candidate. But he's definitely one I got my eye on. But there's a lot of guys to choose from on sort of the lowly teams that are having great seasons.
I agree. There's like Ian Kennedy out in Arizona. He's an older guy, been there. Reliable back end of the bullpen kind of guy.
David Robertson on the Cubs. He's having a good year as well.
Well, didn't he just get traded?
I don't believe so. Did he?
You sure? I think he just got traded
today.
Hold on.
What?
Look that up. You look that up. I'm going to talk about. I thought he just did or something. It might have been my brain.
He got an at bat last night, and I think he was very happy about it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
so he didn't get traded. He's still with the Cubs?
He's still with the Cubbies, yeah.
I could see him going to the other team in New York, back home.
Yeah, I think they love him over there.
But I really like David Bednar, who's with the Pirates. He's a righty. He is dominating. Last year, he had a 2.23 in 61 games. So it's not a fluke that this year he's got a 1.14 in 25 games. And he's really early, and he's not ARB eligible until after next season. So he's a controllable guy. He has options in case it doesn't work out, but he has been dominating, and he kind of fits the role of a back-end bullpen guy that you don't need to close because you have the electric Edwin Diaz.
Yeah, I don't think we're in the market for a closer at all, which is a kind of a sigh of relief because that's a much harder thing to trade for. 2 more guys I want to highlight for the NL West before we wrap up our trade talk here. Another Colorado Rocky and Tyler Kinley has a 0.75 ERA in 25 games. He's been really nice in the bullpen for them. And then a bigger guy that a lot of teams have their eye on because he's probably the best lefty on the market is Joe Mantiply, a name I wasn't familiar with until a couple weeks ago. He has allowed 1 earned run in 26 2/3 innings this year for the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think he has a lot of years of control as well, so he would be one of the steeper prices, but definitely something I could see the Mets doing because they've had some trouble with their lefty relievers this year.
Last guy I want to name was a sign candidate for us in the offseason is Andrew Chafin.
Yeah.
He hasn't had an amazing year. I think he's still doing pretty well. Let me just check this.
For the Tigers, right?
For the Tigers. Yeah. Yep. He signed with the Tigers.
Yeah. 3.44. Not bad.
Yeah. So fine year. Again, a reliable guy that's been there and done that. A guy that we should have signed to begin with.
I think you can say that.
Yeah, the Tigers aren't in contention. They won't be in contention. But he has, I think, another year on his contract. So you'll be signing him up for 2 years.
Yeah, he's got that player option.
But that's just another name because I think a lefty in the back of the bullpen would be ideal along with a switch hitter, power bat to protect Pete Alonso. So
definitely agree. I don't think the Mets make that same splash they did last year where they got Javi Baez. That was a great trade. Javi was great for us, gave us a little bit of a spark. There's some clapping in the office because there always is. I'm sure that's about something
Armstrong.
I know, but
he's dominating.
Away. Is he though? Isn't he injured?
No. I thought he was injured. I don't know if he's injured or not, but I took a look at those. I saw.
I'm not a prospect hugger.
That Sandy said talking about the trade deadline. Did you hear what he said?
What did he say?
He said, we're not sure what we're going to do. We don't want to give up one of our top guys. He basically said, Billy Epler, blah, blah, blah. But he also said we traded Javi Baez and Pete Crow Armstrong is killing it basically. So
Yeah, and that was one of his guys. He does have a 1.0 OPS in single A.
Yeah, he's hitting 354, on base of 443, and a slugging of 557. He's got 7 homers, and he's playing in the Carolina League, which isn't like, the PCL and AAA where you just hit home runs if you touch the ball. This is a real deal kind of league. So
yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge prospect hugging guy, but Pete Armstrong, he does look pretty good. He was a very recent draft pick in 2020. Yeah, he was our first rounder.
And he's a very nice kid. I wish him the best, but again, I'm not a prospect guy either. Maybe at some point in the offseason, we got to have a prospect.
A little deep dive.
Guest.
Yeah. Oh, a guest. I like that.
Yeah,
that's a good
we'll
idea.
have somebody come and talk about prospects.
Good
Everybody idea. Knows Alvarez and how much that they can't get enough of talking about Alvarez.
I mean, have you seen him hit a baseball? It's pretty freaking cool, man.
I mean, I have up close. That's great. But it's never been my strong suit, except when I was in the minor leagues, because I just want to watch the best in the world do it at the best level. And I just don't have the capacity in my brain to think about, other levels and stuff. I know guys' names and I know what's in the pipeline, but I don't dedicate enough mind space for that. So
mind space, I like that. Brain capacity. It's pretty good.
It's true. I just
Yeah. They'll be here when they're here,
That's how I felt about the NBA this year. Like, I like the NBA, but I was like, I got to spend time with my kids.
It's too much to learn. I don't got time for that. It's a whole nother sport. It's a lot of
go Donovan Mitchell, go Cavs.
Make him a Knick.
I still root for the Knicks on occasion.
There you go. Good man. All right, so we can speculate and talk about this all day, but the fact is the trade deadline's still a month away. There's still a lot of baseball left to play until then. Speaking of which, we're going to Miami for another set with the Marlins. Jerry, you want to tell me about it? Who we facing? What's going on?
I do. We got game 1, Taijuan Walker, who has just been absolutely stellar for your New York Mets. He has a 2.88 ERA. He'll be facing a guy that goes by the name of Sandy Alcantara, who is also a fantastic pitcher. He has a sparkling 1.72 ERA, the best pitcher in the National League, maybe in the major leagues right now. In my opinion, he is. Walker went 6 2/3 and gave up that 1 run in the Marlins last start. So he had a nice W. Alcantara hasn't allowed more than 2 earned runs in his last 8 starts. He's only allowed 2 runs twice. And he's gone 8+ innings in 5 of his last 7 starts. Lindor is 5 for 16 with a homer. McNeil is 8 for 25 with a homer off Sandy. Game 2, Chris Bassett, after his nice bounce back, he has a 4.03 ERA. He will be facing lefty Trevor Rogers in his 5.83 ERA. Bassett went 6 1/3 with 3 earned runs versus Miami last time out, but was better than that. Had a little bit of a hiccup with the bullpen giving up some runs. Pete Alonso, our big bopper in the middle, is 0 for 12 against Trevor Rogers. Trevor Rogers was able to just dominate him on straight fastballs up and in, and JD Davis in that style, and he was hitting his spots, but Pete can get him. Rogers went 5 innings, allowed 3 runs, his last outing against us, and he has gone 6 innings only once in 13 starts. That brings us to game 3. David Peterson and his 3.18 ERA, who's been way better than I feel like he's being appreciated for. But he's going against Daniel Castano and his 3.52 ERA. Peterson went 5 1/3, didn't give up any runs against Miami. Castano was 3 2/3 innings pitch, allowed 4 earned runs against the Rockies in his last start. And Peterson has never pitched in Marlins Park. Is it Marlins Park? What is it called these days?
I think it's Lone Depot Park now.
Peterson has never pitched in Lone Depot Park in Miami against the Marlins in his career, and that is our 3-game set in Miami.
Beautiful. Jack is double checking that for me because I think it's Lone Depot Park.
I think you're right. I believe you're right. They also all this Cuban talk and El Acere, like I want a Cubano sandwich so bad, maybe a cortadito, which is like delicious. Like I'm all for it. I love Cuban food. I love Cuban culture, and I'll smoke a cigar if I need to.
Yeah, I went to Havana a couple weeks ago, which is a couple Boxmers. So good. So good.
Love it. But that's our 3-game tasty matchup.
Oh, like
3
that.
wins we need to get. We're facing Sandy Alcantara again. That's not great.
I mean, it's tough. I mean, you got to see him last time out, so I mean, You learned a lot. You can take those things.
That doesn't help.
Doesn't matter
really.
with Sandy Alcantara.
It doesn't hurt, but it doesn't help. It might actually hurt because you're like, this guy's good. I don't want to face him. We might see some veteran guys be like, my back's feeling tight.
Yeah, I feel
today.
like I'm tight. I'm just like Cookie, actually.
My hit streak, I got it going, but I don't think I can go today.
Yeah, I mean, we see one new guy, Daniel Castano. We get a couple lefties in the series between him and Rogers. Hopefully Bassett has some better luck with inherited runners. It's the same old thing, pretty much the same series probables as the first time we did it. A lot of the same guys. Mets need to get a series win, get themselves back on track because they're going to get Houston again at home right after this. And then you cruise into July with a nice slate of games against some weaker teams. So hopefully you can get a little fat before you go there and get real fat going forward.
Let's get healthy. That's the key. Bring our starters into the fold. Let your backs heal. Let your spasms go away. Let your stress reactions heal up properly and get into the ball game. We need you guys. We have 3 monster starters lurking, ready to come back. I can't wait to see these guys pitch. I might shed a tear when Jacob deGrom takes the field. I might clap standing ovation when Max Scherzer takes the field. I just miss seeing the best of the best do it. And helping a team that we get to cheer on.
It's weird to be 19 games over 500 and in first and still feel like something's missing because it's just been missing the whole year, you know?
Isn't that wild?
It's super weird.
Yeah. And it gives you enough time to realize, like, I miss seeing the best pitcher on the planet. Like Sandy Alcantara, like, you're great, man. I really think you're special. You might win the Cy Young this year. You're not Jacob deGrom, buddy. Sorry to break it to you. There's another level above you. There's one guy in it. He's sitting by himself.
I feel like it's the closest thing we have, but it's still not that close, you know? It's just not.
Yeah,
really
I mean,
there.
he's got great stuff, but it's no. deGrom is in a class all his own. Garrett Cole might not say it because I don't think he's going to admit to it, but he really is all on his own.
Mets get healthy. We want to see you guys back soon. Win in Miami for us. I think that's all we got.
Win in Miami. Let's wash that taste of Houston. Get that grime off of you. You had a note in here that the Mets haven't won a game over there.
Oh,
since
yeah.
2011.
Tough note. 0-8.
0-8 and Minute Maid Park since 2011. I was a part of one of those, at least one of those series. It was post Hurricane Harvey, which was a really rough kind of, I don't remember if we lost. That was also the year in which they hit the trash cans and stuff.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that against us because there was nobody in the stands. So that would have been really weird to hear just beating of a trash can while we're playing in an empty stadium. But that's not a fun place to play. I
have one last fun stat for you before we go.
Okay.
Because I looked into it. I was like, you were in the AL West. You might have played at Minute Maid a lot, but I think you were there before they were in the American League. So you
No, I was there when they came over.
Oh, you were? Okay. So you have 2 games there in your career. You have 1 strikeout against an Astros hitter. Do you want to guess who it is? It's a former Met from last year. When I saw it, I was like, look at that. I kind of forgot he was an Astro.
I was going to say Jed Lowry, but he wasn't on the Mets last year. Who is it?
Jonathan VR.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's I've only pitched there twice.
Yeah, I think only 2 games there. That's
wow. I'll tell you what, I probably warmed up 45 times. And so they're under the visiting bullpen is under the Crawford boxes.
Yep.
And it is so loud in there when you're warming up. It makes you feel like you're throwing 1,000 miles an hour because you hit the catcher's glove and it just goes boom.
It's like
I'm ready. Put me in now.
Jeez. I mean, yeah, that's like, it seems like kind of a scary place to pitch, especially if you're a lefty. You got to face a righty with those stupid left field boxes right there. It's tough.
Don't shortchange right field. That ball flies out to straight right field too. It's a joke.
Yeah,
right at center field. I played there. Just put it in perspective when the flags were still in the outfield to where it ramped up, and there's a flagpole in play. Like, you remember how Monument Park used to have the statues back there?
Yep.
Like you're over there. You're like, why is this a thing? I know it's like tradition, but that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. To have this in play.
It's crazy.
So dumb. And the fact that center field had like a ramp.
Yeah.
It went up. Like,
I mean,
what are you doing?
Carlos Beltran didn't mind, which I think is pretty
cute.
cool.
It's cute.
It's
Yeah,
definitely cute.
Beltran. Yeah.
Weird ballpark. We don't have to play there again this year. Thank God.
Yeah, that's not fun. We might see them in the World Series. They're good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, until then, guys.
Until then.
We won't. We will see you one time next week. It's for a special episode on Monday. We're not going to tell you what it is just yet, but stay tuned because it's going to be fun.
Well, we won't. We'll be back not next week. Well, we have one episode next week. We're not doing the full normal Shea Station recap previews.
Yes.
Until
got some vacations to work around. We'll tell you more next time. Take care. Let's go Mets. We'll see you soon. Enjoy your weekend.
Let's go Mets.
Should be a nice one. Love you guys.
It's not my vacation.
It's my vacation. Sorry.
Yeah.
And Audio Jack.
The bus just rolled over Audio Jack.